The headlines are screaming it from coast to coast. Senate passes Trump's big, beautiful bill. But, folks, this isn't just another piece of legislation crawling through Congress. What happened last night represents a complete reversal of everything that Biden destroyed. Gas prices are already plummeting. The Air Force chief just announced they're swearing in 20 new recruits after this broadcast. Even CNN can't spin it anymore. Their own hosts are admitting that Trump might be unstoppable. And that's exactly why Democrats are in full panic mode, claiming thousands will die from tax cuts. You heard that correctly. But the real story, it's what's happening in places like Waco, Texas, that proves this movement has become something far bigger than politics. So keep watching. We've got the scoop. Now, you probably think your 401k is safe, but it wasn't designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift retirement costs and risk onto you, leaving your savings exposed to crashes, inflation, and chaos. But Americans are waking up and taking control with real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands secure their future by converting part of their 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. It's safe, simple, and smart. Visit nextnewsgold.com to get your free wealth protection kit and discover how to safeguard your savings. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coins for free. That's nextnewsgold.com. Your exit from the danger zone. That number on the screen, 877-646-5347, or click the link in the description, nextnewsgold.com. And when you talk to Colin, tell him Gary said hi, would you please? All right. We have some unfortunate news we have to share with you. This just came across my desk, and I'm a little heartbroken here. I just got to show you. Here it is. Can we bring it up, please? Yeah. We have it? Yeah. Do we have the shot? Yeah. Here she is. There she is. Kathy Griffin. That's Kathy Griffin, folks. This is what stage 4 TDS looks like. And cameras captured it today. It's going all over the web. And her fans are in tears. Nobody really quite understands what is happening. I mean, the only logical explanation is that TDS has, it's metastasized. And it is now showing up. I mean, she looks like she could be cast in Lord of the Rings. You know, maybe one of the orcs, perhaps. Maybe a gender-swapped orc. You know, we never saw that in Lord of the Rings. But, you know, now with stage 4 TDS in full swing here, I mean, there's a real chance that Hollywood could pick her up for a special casting role in the next Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I believe is already in production. So everyone just out there, say a prayer for Kathy Griffin. Hope that she gets some treatment for this disorder. Sorry to share this with you, but I had to. It just came across my desk. But, you know, TDS is unstoppable in some cases. Just like the MAGA train is unstoppable. Headlines across the country right now, unstoppable is the word. Republicans and Democrats are facing the cold, hard truth that Trump might be unstoppable. Leland Vittert, NewsNation, here he is.
He's doing it. Both Republicans and Democrats are facing the cold, hard truth that Trump might be unstoppable. Whether you like him or whether you don't like him, you need to look realistically at what he's doing and how quickly he's doing it. The Trump archives are a series of near impossible feats that we have been told. The Israelis have agreed to a ceasefire deal in Gaza that would bring home the hostages. Hamas has not agreed. Like all Mideast peace deals, it's fragile, but there is progress. Here at home, just today, the University of Pennsylvania announced something that they said they never would, a change to its policy on trans athletes. Men will no longer be allowed to play on women's sports teams. It seems obvious, right? But a couple of years ago, if you said that, you were a bigot. Penn, of course, is where the biological male, Leah Thomas, made a mockery of swimming records. That is no more. The border is closed. We were told that it couldn't be done by Joe Biden. Without congressional action, Trump did it. The big, beautiful bill just passed the Senate. Trump's more politically powerful than ever, even more powerful than when we told you yesterday that he's the most powerful modern president. Again, this is not cheerleading. This is telling you what is happening and why it matters to you. And this bill for Donald Trump is a critical step. Bill O'Reilly told us last night that Trump's entire legacy is tied up in whether the bill passes both the Senate and the House. What I think is interesting is you say this is a must make or break moment right now for Donald Trump in these days.
Yeah, I'm right as usual, and you're wrong. Because if a recession hits, Donald Trump's second term is over. He'll lose the midterms, he'll lose Congress, he'll get nothing done, he'll go down in history as a failed president.
All right, today the Senate delivered. The House is next. It's going to be an uphill battle, but as we've told you before, don't bet against Trump, even when he had impeachments, felony charges, and felony convictions. Trump has also won major victories at the Supreme Court on the power of the executive branch. He bombed Iran and severely damaged their nuclear program without starting World War III. A major deal with the Saudis and Israelis could be coming. The B-2 pilots who struck Iran are coming to the White House for July 4th. The stock market closed at record highs this week, despite all the tariff hysteria. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, it certainly does. Here we have Iran's foreign minister. This just 3 hours ago, they admitted their key nuclear sites have been seriously and heavily damaged.
Obliterated.
What we know so far is that the facilities have been seriously and heavily damaged.
President Trump has made it clear multiple times that Iran's nuclear facilities targeted in those U.S. strikes were, in his words, obliterated. Have they been obliterated?
It appears that they have been heavily and seriously damaged. No one at the moment says that the facilities have remained intact.
Here, let me do the voiceover for this. Yes, in fact, Donald Trump is right. He blew the shit out of our nuclear facilities, and we will not be able to do anything except wash dishes and clean stones from now on. That's basically it. That's basically what he's saying, folks. What? Now, we have here the U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff, General David W. Alvin, talking about the new replacement for the famous B-2 bomber. It's called the B-21, B-21. I mean, the B-2 is pretty badass. So we got something better coming. Nice. Let's hear about it.
And enemy air.
And then what was the next? Right after the B-2 you came up with?
Now we have the B-21, and the B-21 is just it's a next iteration forward. It's better stealth, better delivery, and that is it's in its testing and beginning production phase. It's a fantastic platform, and it's going to be the follow-on to the B-2.
And what kind of things will it do that the B-2 can't?
Well, it will be able to penetrate deeper. It'll have more low observability, so it'll be tougher to find. And it will be able to penetrate deeper into enemy airspace and be able to, as we say, put warheads on foreheads anywhere the president might want.
So that while we're working on that, the B-21...
Put warheads on foreheads. Oh, my goodness.
And you're also working on the B-47, correct?
F-47, yes.
F-47, my bad. So tell me about the F-47. I remember Secretary Hegseth mentioned it to the president. How far along are you, and what will that do?
Well, it was a great day this spring when President Trump announced that we were going forward with the F-47. There was a competition that was had amongst industry, and Boeing won the competition. And that program is very far along in what we call the risk reduction phase, where you're learning the new technology, the new concepts, new ways of manufacturing. All those are brand new. And so now we're at the point where we're going to continue the building and the testing. We hope to have one flying within the next 3 years.
So, General, we'll get concerned about cost overruns, maybe. And then what was the next? Right after
the F-47 is coming. Okay, let's see here. They're talking about the next 20 Americans joining the Air Force.
Out in Times Square. I got to tell you, this is why I got to sneak out of the Pentagon today. After this show, I'm going to go and I'm going to swear in another 20 Americans who are going to join our Air Force out in Times Square. The recruiting is just going like gangbusters. I think the issue is we have a lot of people.
Yeah, good luck with Times Square if that governor or if that mayor actually wins. Times Square is going to be used for facing Mecca.
Patriotic Americans out there. But there's a lot of distractions. And so our recruiters do the work of reaching out and saying, here's the value proposition we have of you. If you want to do something of purpose, if you want to look just beyond yourself, and you want to be part of a winning team in a game that really matters, and that's national defense, come join the Air Force, and you'll get to do some pretty special stuff when you do.
I mean,
Right on. Here we have, okay, check this out. This is what happened in Waco, Texas. Now, I'm not sure the logic behind it. Maybe this guy's going to explain it. But this guy says he's going to show his support for President. Mama and Papa B's barbecue in Waco is closing their doors until the big, beautiful bill gets passed. I don't understand. Why would you want to? He says it's to show unity. How dare you? How
dare you?
How dare you shut down a barbecue joint? I don't know how that shows unity. Maybe this guy's going to wise me up.
President, if it's a loss, we'll take that loss because the community has been so good to us as a family that we feel we deserve it. We owe it to the community to give back, and this is the way that we're doing it.
Bill Collins and his family.
I don't know how, closing your store. How is that giving back, though?
Family have owned Mama and Papa B's barbecue in downtown Waco for 40 years. But to show their support for our president, they're closing their doors until the big, beautiful bill gets passed.
We're doing it as a form of protest because we believe that following Trump, who is our president, although we don't agree with everything that he may say or do, but we feel that in this particular instance, it is very important that we show unity.
The bill includes several new policies ranging from tax cuts to immigration enforcement. But Collins tells me his solidarity isn't about policy. He says it's about standing up for what the bill can do.
American people need to come together, put aside their political differences, and come together in unity and show the world, the United Nations are looking at what we're doing.
Some people might say, oh, well, why is he closing his restaurant? This is only going to hurt him. What would you say to them?
Well, see, that's the whole point. If it was going to hurt me, I wouldn't close down.
Collins isn't concerned about how long it could take for the bill to pass. Instead, he believes the temporary closure is a statement designed to bring unity to our community and the country.
We're all going to have to sacrifice something in order to pass this big, beautiful bill, first of all. But we're going to have to realize that and be willing to give up our part. If it's a loss, we'll take that.
I mean, I don't know. Brisket, rib tips, not sure if I'm willing to sacrifice all that. But anyway, here we have more talking about the big, beautiful bill. Pro-energy, pro-America, pro-worker, pro-farmer. This is Secretary Burgum on Fox.
With the big, beautiful bill, this is such a pro-energy, pro-America, pro-worker, pro-farmer bill. We know that Speaker Johnson is going to get this thing across the line, but one of the things that we know that we need to get our economy in a growth mode is to reduce the time, the uncertainty, and the cost that companies face to get permitting in this country. And so Administrator Lee Zeldin, Secretary Chris Wright, myself, and many others are all focused on this. And there's many things we can do to turn around the Biden era. Part of the Biden era permitting was ideological. They just slow rolled everything if it wasn't from a fuel source or an energy source that they cared about. Under President Trump, who's declared a national energy emergency, he has instructed all of us to get this stuff permitted, get it permitted now. He knows we're going up against China in the AI arms race. With the big, beautiful bill, this is such a pro.
Let's see what else is happening in the world today. Pardon me. Okay, here we have 8 hours ago. Spending tax cut bill passes. Senate passes Trump's big bill. Trump's tax bill clears the Senate. Senate passes Trump. These are all the headlines. Mercury News. These are great headlines. Lawrence Journal World. The Minnesota Star Tribune. Trump's tax bill clears Senate as Vance breaks tie. The Houston Chronicle. Senate passes Trump's big tax bill. Man, the fact that we had Vance there to do it for us, God bless him. Here's something from the Treasury Department's X account. Counselor to Secretary Scott Bessent says the one big, beautiful bill increases supply-side incentives. This guy's brain, his forehead looks like he's got a huge brain, so he must be smart.
Oh. You know, in the first Trump administration, growth was nearly 3%. It actually...
seriously, this guy is smart just by looking at his face. Look at that head. I mean, it's no question he belongs in the Trump administration in the Treasury Department. Smart guy. I can see it. You can see it, right? I can see it.
You know, in the first Trump administration, growth was nearly 3%. It actually at 3.4% in the fourth quarter year on year in 2019, and inflation didn't pick up. The one big beautiful bill, which is making its way through the Congress, as you know, increases supply side incentives to get growth to remain robust through capital investment and capital deepening. Inflation will continue to fall. The inflation news has been great, and that's the thing. If you look at the bond market, the equity markets rallied on a second half.
I mean, I don't understand the damn word he's saying, but he just looks smart, so I'm going to believe him.
And bond market yields are down substantially from where they were earlier in the year. So the capital markets are really responding very positively.
Just spell it out, dude. Are we going to be richer or what?
To what they expect on the inflation side. Break-even inflation's been stable. So again, this notion somehow that inflation's going to pick up, that growth leads to faster inflation, this Phillips curve mindset, if you will, completely wrong. We saw under the first Trump administration, as they said, very strong growth and low inflation. And by the way, I just want to add, the big problem with the CBO's numbers is they're only assuming 1.8% GDP growth. That's woefully too low. If we have a 17.2% revenue share of GDP, which is basically where we are now, and we grow at a much more plausible and realistic 3%, that gives you something like almost an extra $1 trillion in revenue relative to what CBO was forecasting back in January. And that's not even adding the revenues that are coming from the tariffs. So this notion that these deficits are going to stay super high and grow, completely, I think, incorrect, because it's based on a fallacious assumption of sub 2% growth, which is very, very weak. You know, in the first
the fact that this guy is on TV now, he probably sat alone in his lunchroom, his head in the books and just getting smarter and smarter. And now this guy's on TV. He's working for Trump. He's in the administration. He's using big words. I mean, that just proves America is just getting greater and greater every single minute. What else have we got going on here? Rapid Response 47. MSDNC. The White House says Democrats voted against lower taxes, bigger paychecks, stronger national security. What's your response? Here's Representative Angie Craig.
And we're willing. The White House says Senate Democrats voted against lower taxes, bigger paychecks, stronger national security, and more. How do you respond to that?
Well, look, Democrats agree that we need to have strong border security, and we're willing to discuss that in a separate forum. But for goodness sakes, we're talking about just about 60 cents a day in savings for individuals who make $50,000 a year or less.
The White House says Senate Democrats.
Oh, really? Maybe she should talk to the guy from the Treasury Department. That guy was the smart guy. She doesn't seem like a really smart person. Scott Jennings. God, I haven't seen this guy in a while. Always loving. Dumping cold water on CNN host Cassie Hunt's Medicaid fear-mongering, because that's what they do best at CNN.
About this because I used to be I have to say, Scott, him saying I'm not going to vote for Medicaid cuts, and then he voted for this bill, which very clearly does cut Medicaid.
Yeah, but who does it cut Medicaid for? Illegal aliens, people who won't get off grandma's couch despite being able-bodied adults.
Right, but hang on.
It is a protection of the social safety
I actually
net.
know too much about this because I used to be a healthcare policy reporter on Capitol Hill. Okay, so putting that hat on for a second, the people that are really going to suffer, and the reason this is a problem for Lisa Murkowski and Josh Hawley, are the rural hospitals with emergency rooms into which people like that may walk. Mm-hmm. And if they don't...
Oh, give me a freaking break. You seriously? The rural emergency. I got a railroad spike through my head. I got to go to the emergency room. I don't have insurance. I only have Medicaid, and they just passed a big, beautiful bill. What am I going to do? You go to the emergency room, and they're going to treat you, and they're going to bill you. Duh. CNN. This is what you get on CNN.
Don't have Medicaid, they're not getting any. That hospital is not getting any money from that person or from the federal government.
Well, the Senate included a massive fund for rural hospitals. I think it was $50 billion, or did they wind up? I forget where they wound up, but a massive fund to cover just what you're talking about. So some care was put into thinking about How do you protect rural hospitals from downside outcomes? So I think that's one of the reasons they're ultimately going to get it over the line, is because they actually work to fix little individual pieces that had people upset about it.
I have to say, Scott, him saying I'm not going to vote.
Oh, yeah. CNN, up to old tricks. What else is going on here? Hell, gas prices are way down. The White House putting out an official montage. How cool is this? This is the official montage from the White House. Did you see that on CNN? Well, maybe. Let's see.
Trends are being...
It's pretty good news for millions of drivers expecting to hit the road for the 4th of July weekend.
Looks like gas prices are about to get cheaper.
Gas prices are currently the lowest that they've been since 2021. They're the lowest since 2021.
Hitting a 4-year low.
This doesn't just apply locally. Trends are being seen nationwide.
Including in Michigan, where it's about 42 cents cheaper to fill up than it was this time last year. Pennsylvania, Illinois, Nevada, a number of other states seeing significant drops.
Gas prices are much lower than we have seen in recent years.
$2.68 per gallon, or more than a dozen stations in Duval and St. Johns County.
The national average could fall below $3 as early as September.
This translates to Americans spending about $500 million less on gasoline this holiday weekend versus last.
The White House using CNN to push their agenda. Gotta love it. CNN producers having coronary in the production rooms. Let's see. Oh, Megyn Kelly. What's she talking about here? The miracle of Butler. God sparing Trump and bringing political parties together. We are not broken. Let's hear this.
Then the miracle.
Why did Bill Maher think that you'd been canceled when you went on with him in December?
Well, I mean, because I jokingly, when I got, as you pointed out earlier, I was supporting Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah.
Then the miracle in Butler, and a bullet that would have changed the history of the world.
Speaking of God.
Oh my God, yes. But because of that, then I think the humility that started to run in Donald Trump in a way that I don't know that it even existed prior to that, and him reaching out to Bobby and creating this alliance. And then I go and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm on the Trump train now, one that I was never on prior, but one that I knew I needed to go be on because of the state of everything and the team that he was collecting. And so Tulsi had reached out to me and was like, hey, we're doing this town hall with Bobby.
Why did she reach out to you? Did she see that you were an RFK?
We had a mutual friend that introduced us. A trainer, like a trainer at the gym.
Yeah.
That I knew from a gym here in New York who moved to Austin. And I said, hey, would you come and I want to do a workout. She's like, cool. So we do a workout and we're talking about the state of the world. And I'm like, oh man, that Tulsi Gabbard, I think she's the bee's knees. And she's like, I know Tulsi. I go train Tulsi sometimes. I go, oh wow, I'd love to meet her someday. Cut to a week later, we're sitting down and we're all having coffee. And I'm telling her, I think you're awesome. I love what you stand for. I love that you have the balls to have been Democrat your entire career, but recognize that the party has been lost. The values that it once held, a lot of values that I even agree with, have been lost. And you see that those values have transferred over here and you're supporting Trump. I'm like, that's amazing. I love all that. And I share all these same concerns and I want to be able to help in all of this, but I'm not sure what to do because I'm in Hollywood and that's a wacky thing. And she's like, I get it.
Get kicked out.
And like a week later, I get a text, or a week or two, I don't know what it was. And Tulsi says, listen, we're on the campaign trail we're on the campaign trail supporting Trump. Me and Bobby doing town halls. We would love for you to moderate one of those town halls. And I told her, I got to think and pray on this because this is really crossing the Rubicon.
That is definitely crossing.
But I did, and I felt peace. Again, I felt peace. I felt peace because I knew that this was more important than saving my career.
Okay, so we went from TDS, Trump derangement syndrome in full effect, to the unstoppable news that Trump's train has no brakes. Gas prices down. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. Now, the big, beautiful bill, the victory matters because it's not just legislation, it's liberation. Liberation from the tax slavery that's crushed American families for decades. Liberation from regulations that strangle small businesses. Liberation from a government that takes your tips, your overtime, and then tells you to be grateful for the crumbs they leave behind. When Democrats claim that thousands will die from tax cuts, they're exposing their real agenda: keep you dependent, keep you broke, and keep you begging for government handouts. But Trump just flipped the script. gas prices plummeting, military recruitment surging, the F-47 is coming, barbecue joints shutting down in solidarity because Americans recognize a revolution when they see one. So here's my question to you. Do you trust Democrats who voted against keeping more of your own money? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And while you're fired up, check out our Next News merch shop. It's linked below. We got some new merch. You can see it right there on screen. President Otto Pen, Alligator Alcatraz, No Escape. You can trigger a liberal by simply supporting the Next News Network at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.